Yeah, you're cute.
All cute. I'm up to the elevators yet?
A little hard for me to tell. Are you?
No. Yes. You can turn the video off now.
Just for that.
Just for that? Just for that, you're on camera.
Oh, okay. All right.
Never mind.
What's the film? Do you see the girl in the plastic skirt or something?
No. No, I bet she changed her way.
Yeah, she said she had me in Wilder outfit.
Wilder?
Yeah, she said you have to see my second outfit.
I will stare at her. She didn't.
Yeah.
How you burn?
It will be neat. Will you do it? Can I what? Can I help? I have two lists this week. One list is people that need to be beat within an inch of their life.
You know how Ernest looks, man.
Then there's the, there's on that list automatically. Then there's the upgraded that is.
Did it to us.
While you're writing a story.
Exactly. Sell it all. Nobody can just kick them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's catch up. Hi, Karen.
You're going to ask him about the jacket.
Foggy today, I can get a little better picture of the buildings, except for them tall ones. It comes in a little bit better.
You want one of my beautiful pamphlets? One of these pamphlets? They're actually talking to me. They're not now.
Kelly, if you could close those doors while you're doing this, it's getting cold. I mean, getting out here. All right, well, close it for all the All right, folks, let's try and close it up and be friendly here. I know.
Yeah, it is. No, I can't.
This one. Mom, I'm on TV. Go now. I asked him.
You ready to take a break?
And he told me to go check the green room and see if they had something. I couldn't find it. I went all through the room and I couldn't find it. I asked the convention guy says, I don't know, check the dealer's room. It's alright, there'll be one here in a second. These are the fastest elevators in the world.
Good. I just did.
I'm not gonna try to fit in that one. You're gonna hold their elevator here as long as you can do it again. We'll be there in half a second.
Sure.
And we're off.
That's not it. Is that it?
No, this is me.
No, we want the next one. The view. We want that one. Yeah.
Excuse us, gentlemen. Let me shoot this first. Then I'll go around that side.
And a plate stuff.
It actually doesn't tell me. I mean, it tells you if you don't have enough light. Seems to be doing alright. Maybe a little bit dark.
Oh, she's at the table.
You doing what? It's everything you say. Connie wants her Alice Cooper. He's not here. God wouldn't want to drop us on somebody's head.
Oh, my Alice Cooper.
I'm sorry. I couldn't.
Thanks, Jerry.
I'm sorry.
I know you guys.
I did. Aren't you sure?
Yeah, Alice will like you too.
So these are the people who won't give us no money back. People that took my picture when you did show my video camera.
Okay?
Okay, and he's just a distant relation.
Okay.
See the actual pieces back here. We do our best to make those look as they look pretty good anyway. They're just easier to catch on close inspection. I had this black guy over there, Gregor, back in Tampa. Vince.
As for myself, I sat there trembling, contemplating sorry, I said, anyway, you may be sticking around the closet, you love it.
What? I'm too late to go out the window.
We have to find
Hey, Vern!
I have no idea what it is. Let me see if I can do it this time. Since I changed the mode on it. Oh, okay. Actually, I got a new set of good. This is my right eye, is my bad eye. Actually, see ours. See where I'm going. Of course, I'll probably fall anyway. But that's life in the Paisley.
I'm gonna see if Rich is there. I'm trying to get her on the phone.
It's not. It would have already shut down. I think I might have got it back.
Still recording. That settles that. I'm not getting fined.
Not necessarily.
Bury your dog is buying $45.
Hang out with us tonight, or?
Yeah.
She's trying to. I'll check it out.
Never mind.
Timmy.
That's Timmy.
That's the waiter.
Our terrible waiter from last night wouldn't give us any food.
Wouldn't feed us last night because we were drinking.
Well, liquid is better for you.
Thank you.
Walking there, going to the way. Atlanta by night. Ain't it pretty?
it'll shock you. It's a hard,
Especially when Neil never said hi to Mom on the video. Say hi to Mom.
That's a problem.
Please. That's yours.
Oh, God, he's ugly.
That's the whole point.
That's magnificently ugly. That brings a whole new meaning to the word ugly. Now I'm going to play.
I think your ugly will word with you. Yes.
The biography, the bibliography, those dry facts that, you know, that are normally listed in things like program books. Or maybe you should present the personal side. You should discuss charming little anecdotes about the person. Like about the time that Clive and I were in New York and we tried to pick up some Eurasian transsexuals. But actually, that's not true. That's not true. They tried to pick us up. In truth, for me, obviously, the personal and the professional intersect. And
I had a call from Rush Limbaugh this afternoon. He wanted me to say a couple of things, and I'm going to. He wanted me to remind you that it's because of him and people like him that people like Newt Gingrich are in Washington preparing to cut all funding for the arts in the United States. And he was very proud of that. And he figured that you people were too stupid and too lazy to do something about it. He also wanted me to remind you that his talent is, as he says on his radio show every day, on loan from God. Well, I only have two things to say about that. The first is that Rush Limbaugh is so stupid that he doesn't realize that God recalled that loan 35 years ago. And the second thing is that God, since I do believe talent is something on loan from God, that God has extended Clive Barker's talent nigh unto infinity. Ladies and gentlemen, Clive Barker.
It's phallic, isn't it? You said proudly. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Phil. What to say? What to say is I am very grateful. What to say is I have, well, I'd like to say another 50 years of writing in me, and, you know, they may have disinvented death by the time my final moments come around, so I might be around for a lot longer. My passion for this remains unwavering, and by this I mean imagining. By this I mean dreaming with my eyes open. By this I mean the sacred right of imagining. Sacred because it's a way that we touch something extremely special in ourselves, and I passionately believe that the area of dark fantasy, fantastique, horror fiction, science fiction, anything that touches the imagination and moves the imagination of other people is the most important form of fiction at the end of this century. In other words, the great authors of the mainstream, we all know who they are actually, if they but knew it, floating down a very small rivulet. And it's actually going to deliver them nowhere. We have to remember that naturalistic fiction, realistic fiction, is a very recent phenomenon, and its day is almost over. The little fad about telling life the way it is as opposed to the way it should be or could be is almost done. And I believe that the writers of imaginative fiction are in the vanguard of a necessary new way of looking at the world. By which I mean this: we spend a third of our lives asleep, dreaming. We spend a lot of our waking lives fantasizing. Sometimes having terrible fantasies, having appalling, nightmarish thoughts about what life will be like when we die, or when we're old, or when we're mad, or when we're loveless. And those are important, vital investigations. Sometimes having transcendental dreams, sometimes having daydreams about life after death, or physical transformation, perfection, meeting Jesus, meeting Buddha. We have these things going through our heads too. And what seems to me to be important is that we value, profoundly value, the function of the dreams and the nightmares in our lives. You, all out there in the dark, in the gloom, are closer to yourselves than Rush Limbaugh or Newt Gingrich or Pat Robertson or any of those other terrible, terrible, bad men. Will ever be. And you're closer to yourselves because you're closer to your imaginations. You're closer to the sacred part of yourselves which allows you to fly. And sometimes you fly to hell, and that's okay. And sometimes you fly to heaven, and that's okay too. What's important is to fly. What's important is to hold on to the curiosity that says, what if? What if I opened a little box and a guy with pins sticking out of his face appeared? What if I said something 5 times into a mirror and a great fellow with a hook came and eviscerated me? What if I closed my eyes and I dreamed and I went to Quiddity or Magica or Weave World? The vital thing is not to be put down, is not to be oppressed. We are, at present, I believe, an oppressed minority. We imaginers. I felt a little sick a few days ago, and I had the misfortune of being stuck in front of the television for 3 consecutive hours. And on the one channel that wasn't showing the O.J. Simpson trial, there's a lot of that around, the television gave me images of such banality, of such mindlessness, of such purposelessness, that I would have done just about anything, and actually did. I ended up reading the newspaper, which is unheard of for me, rather than watch the damn thing. Now, most Americans have that thing on 5-6 hours a day. There are young minds across America now sitting watching Lord knows what. Terrible banalities. Their imagination stultifying. Their dreams dead in their heads. And I think it's really important that you guys go out into the world from conventions like this and don't take any shit from anybody who says that I am not ready and proud to dream with my eyes open. Don't take shit from anybody who says, you read that stuff? It's not real, it's escapism. You know, all the, you can run down the list of things that people say about this kind of literature. I think, I had a friend, he's now dead regrettably, but he said there were 3 things that were required to be a writer. The 3 T's, he said: taste, talent, and tenacity. And he said, of those 3 T's, all you ever really needed was 2. And I begin to think the most important one is tenacity. I begin to think the most important thing is to hold on and to actually say, this is mine. You might not like it, you might not care for it, you might think it's ugly, but you know what? It's mine. And I think one of the things that happens in our culture, in our homogenized, bastardized, dreamless culture, is that we are constantly told, constantly bullied into accepting somebody else's banal vision of reality instead of clinging to what's ours. A couple of years ago, a really wonderful program in England, the South Bank Show, which is an arts program, was kind enough to do a profile about me, and they started off with a picture of my mother and father, who are wonderful people, sitting behind a table loaded down with, sandwiches and tea. And my mother turns to my father and says, I don't know where he gets it from, Len, do you? And it's completely true. And my father said, I think he gets it from your side of the family, to which my mother vehemently denied. And I think at a certain point, and I think there's probably all of us have something of this in us, at some point in our lives, somebody, a member of teaching staff, a parent, an aunt, a sibling said, you're weird. Right? Can we have a show of hands on that one, please? Yeah. Now, we are. We are. And we should be fucking proud of it. Because to be weird in this gutless culture is to be an adventurer. To be weird right now is to be on the boundaries, to be looking into some new territory. To be weird right now is to be brave and to be strong and to be against the flow. And that seems to me to be wonderful, a wonderful condition. Once in a while on a Monday morning when I have to go in and I'm going to pitch a movie to some three-piece suit, one neuron-brained executive, I think, you know what? He's going to say I'm weird. And truly, and I have been in meetings, I've been in marketing meetings, I've been in movie meetings many times where people have actually said, and this has happened 2 or 3 times in the last year at marketing meetings for movies, well, you don't count, Clive, you're just weird, your view is just weird. And it's a way of marginalizing us, okay? It's a way of saying, you don't belong in the mainstream, so therefore your opinion is a kind of lesser opinion. Now, the movies may make millions of dollars, but you make the movies and then we'll talk about the public because we understand the public, because the public aren't like you. The public aren't weird like you. And I'm not telling any lies here. I encounter that constantly. And I encounter it from people who are, and here I come to the crux of it, deeply, deeply afraid. And they are afraid of what's different. They're afraid of what challenges their intellects and their emotions. They're afraid of their own imaginations because they repressed their own imaginations at the age of 5, or perhaps more tragically had them repressed for them. And because they're in this repressed state, these things bubble up below the surface and do the most terrible things to their consciousness. They are frightened people because they can't control their dreams. They're people, I won't name the executive in question, but he's a very powerful executive, and he's one of the people behind a movie I'm making at the moment who says, I never dream, Clive. I'm sorry, I can't relate to what you're talking about in this movie because I never dream. And I've repeatedly said to him that, of course, he does dream, and the simple fact of the matter is that he dreams, but that very possibly he's too terrified of what he might discover, of what he might have repressed. And to which he says, you're weird, Clive, you don't care. The issue here is that, paradoxically, here we are at a horror convention, and we are in the business, either in the reading or the writing or the editing, of fear. And yet I think we're a very fearless bunch of people. And the people who are actually afraid are the people who don't read this stuff. The people who are actually afraid are the people who don't go near this stuff, because it's about death, because it's about obsession, because it's about insanity, because it's about the fact that we get born and then we start to die, and those are very painful things and very painful realities. And it seems to me paradoxical that our weirdness actually makes us strong, and their apparent flight from this weirdness makes them weak, makes them vulnerable, makes them frightened. I have been enthusiasts, and the people who are working in other imaginative areas, this is an also class of mine.
Here, you stay. Girls and chickens. Come on, back. All right, don't get mad. Got no more.
That's all, guys. Gotta wait on
Got
them.
an Alka Seltzer. Look at this guy. He was sidestepping over here.
I'll get a good zoom on one of them. That's neat. Come on up here. You want a picture taken? Take a picture? You take a picture? Hey, you got some. I just want to say you got some potato chips big like that.
I did? Yeah, I
You probably go nuts over that popcorn. Come here, guys.
Come on back. It's still here.
Well, they having a fit, aren't they?
Pose for me, damn it.
Beep, beep.
Come on, Dad.
Come on. Finish your dinner.
It's almost gone.